Welcome to the 250 kilometer review of the KS16X. Now, it's cranked up the mileage fairly quickly. That's partly to do with the fact that we had a Forest of Dean ride out and meet up, which you can watch on our channel. Go and search FOD ride out and you'll find it. Brilliant day out. Stacked some miles on it. I mean, in the range test, I've been doing a bit of a road riding more than anything. And with this, I was able to take it on road, well, gravel and serious off-road, with a promise to myself not to drop it or smash it up the whole day, which is a bit of a tall order. Managed to do it though, and it has been performing incredibly well. I am on version 1.06, I think it is, firmware currently, with no issues whatsoever. What I haven't done is taken it up to 50 kilometers an hour, because I don't want to break my arms. But there's been some users that said they had issues with that. But for me, where I am currently, I've had no issues whatsoever. I think I've set it a maximum of 40 kilometers an hour. The trolley handle has been working spot on. I don't use the trolley handle that much, so I'm not overusing it. Some users might use it more than me, especially if you're a city rider or go on a lot of transport links and things like that. But for me, it's few and far between. But the use it has had, no issues whatsoever. Always remember to press dead center on the trolley handle button, not on the side. That's where wear starts to go on one of the struts, essentially. But so far, so good with that, no issues. So they've improved that significantly. On the KS18, we had issues to start with, solved a long time ago, but the very first batch we ever had a few problems with that. So they've upgraded that, they put some time and thought into that, which is really, really nice. Hasn't had any falls, as I said, so it hasn't really got any scuffs. Has been knocked over by a robot vacuum cleaner, and it survived, all right, but that was falling over onto tiles, so nothing at speed. What it has done in the back of my seat of my car is rocked forward or backwards on itself, and these little rubber front covers have actually stopped it getting all scratched up. Very, very nice, the way they've protected the front light lens and the button. One thing that has happened is the reflector on the back of here, where it's been crushed, nice flexible mudguard, which is good. It's a thumbs up for the flexible mudguard, but the reflective strip is just cracked in the middle, where it's sort of folded over on itself and it's just peeled off. So that's a bit rubbish, but we could do with getting another strip on that. It's a bit of better quality, I think, but it is sticking to a very, very flexible rear mudguard, so probably not a lot you can do about that. Foot plates in the rain, no issues whatsoever. In the mud, no issues whatsoever. Very grippy. Right size, I'm finding my foot ache is nowhere near as painful as it could be if they were a bit smaller. So the size for me, I'm about 10 and a half UK size, and I don't have any issues with that at all. But then I am conditioned to ride in these wheels. So some of you may struggle. If you do, and you're a similar foot size, then it's probably just conditioning. If you've got bigger feet, then it might be the foot plate size. But otherwise, you should be absolutely fine. This here, nice and grippy. So this is soft, and this is a lot harder. But it's got a little bit of give to it. And what I find is off-roading, especially over routes and things like that, you can actually clamp the unit really nicely, really sort of hold it tight between your legs to stop it wandering, going all over the place when you hit the rough stuff. So that is good, and it's actually comfortable whilst you're doing that. I found with the, for instance, the only flat side one I can really think of, solid flat side with nothing above it, is the Z10. And I found that my ankles would hurt, but this here is just enough to take that out, to stop the bone in your foot smashing into the solid side. It's just enough give to stop that happening. So I've had no bruising on my ankles from riding this at all. And as I say, it has been, this is actually probably getting on for 300 kilometers at the moment, stuck onto it in such a short space of time. So from that point of view, that is all good. And the way these foot plates actually work is good. The magnetic style, rather than having to force it down with your hand each time, that works really well. The power button works fine. No issues there whatsoever. It's a rubber finish to it. So it's waterproof, essentially. It's water protected. No issues whatsoever there. The tyres held up really, really well. Hasn't worn down. The tyre on this one It's a CX321 if that means anything to you. There's no other brand name on it, so that's what I'm riding on, which was the original tyre that came with the KS16X. They've since changed the tyre. CYT tyre, I think it is, something like that. Different tyre, but I've had no issues whatsoever with this. It rides really, really nicely. I'm just riding it at the max PSI it recommends to get the most mileage out of it, and it's worked spot on. The ability to charge with 2 chargers is a pretty sweet touch, to be honest, and you can get back out on the road a lot quicker than you would otherwise be able with just a single charger. So having that double port, thumbs up to that. And you've even got a double USB port as well. If you want to charge 2 devices, then you can do that if you're that way inclined. I don't tend to do that anymore since coming off once. Wasn't off a KingSong, it was off another wheel whilst it was plugged in and ripping the cable, which kind of put me off doing that. But if it's sat next to you and you got it switched on, you can get some extra charge, or if you've got camera equipment out in the middle of the forest and you can charge it by USB, you can plug straight into this if you've got the cable, which is a neat little touch. Light has been absolutely fine. It's, as I say, there was a bit of a thing where if you are wearing, such as this, a t-shirt and it's night time, it's getting a bit colder now, so that's less likely. You can see the light. When you stood on it, the light shows. It's quite bright, so it's actually pointing up a little bit at you. They have done some changes with the firmware where you can mess around with that in the app if you really want to. It also dims, which I put on the Instagram account a few weeks ago. If you come to a standstill and you're at full light, if you stand still, the light dies down, which you can change in the app, but it dies down, which is really, really neat. So if you stop on a cycle trail and you're having a chat or whatever, you're checking your phone, it dims down, you don't blind people. So that is a really, really good feature. I like that, having that variable light. Oh, actually been out on the Nikola and this KS16X today. And one thing I did notice doing exactly the same line at the same speed is this one was slightly slower to brake than the Nikola. That's the Gotway Nikola. 84 volt for example, so you know what you're benchmarking it against. And I found this braked a little bit slower. And that's extreme braking, mind. It's not like I was, doing a long run. Normal riding won't get any issues. But I did notice the same trail, I'm trying to stop before the woodland sort of ran out, that this was like, whoa, 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 brake, 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 leaning right back, whereas the Gotway Nikola was braking a lot sooner. So that's worth noting. Slightly slower braking there, and it's probably all down to firmware, to be fair, because this has actually got a bigger motor at 2,200 watts, so worth noting now. This does not want to stop this thing. Had I not been riding them back to back, literally doing one line with one and then one line with the other, I probably wouldn't have noticed the braking difference. It was only because they were literally back to back routes that I knew something was slightly different, and no matter how much I leant back, I couldn't quite get to brake as fast as that wheel. So at the upper speed that I actually set it to within the app, it performs really, really well. So you're just trundling along, it just eats up the miles. No hassle whatsoever. There's lovely big tyre on it. If you're on road or off road, performs really, really well. I found it's really grippy in the mud as well. A couple of places I've slid on other wheels, whereas with this, it just gripped as I was turning out of a corner. Just nice and grippy, just digs in, bites in and keeps you on going. Found again that the stones do tend to catch and then they go up through the body, and that gives you a bit of a shake, which really makes you jump at the time. What's going on? Is it going to cut out? But it just passes on through and comes out the other side. That's made me jump a couple of times, which is unusual because I don't get that on the other wheels. It's almost like the firmware thinks there's a jam and sort of like that, whoa, what's happening? But it all comes out fine, no issues whatsoever. So from that point of view, nothing to worry about. It's just if you're riding these and you're especially going through gravelly areas, this is where I find it, where there's tons and tons of gravel, it does pick it up. Might be this tyre, don't know. It's quite grippy. got little cutouts for it, so it's very good in slippy mud, but then it picks up stones easier, so it kind of swings and roundabouts really in that regard.
Life in the forest with Speedy Feet.
Here you see one of the greatest bung beetles, bung beetles.
Follow along on our Instagram account, on Twitter, on YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube and hit the bell notification for sure. Don't forget to check out our Patreon page, which is for all the reviews after the unboxing. We want to do further things, fun challenges and things like that. So check out that Patreon link. It'd be great to have you on board supporting those extracurricular activities on wheels to see what we can do. Also, don't forget to comment and like on this video. Apparently that's quite important as well. I hope this has been a help, and the next review on this will be 650 kilometer review to let you know how reliable it's been. Has it conked out and broken my arms, or is it spot on? So far we've never had a wheel, and all the ones we've done let us down up to the 1,000 kilometer mark and had no issues whatsoever. So I expect no issues whatsoever from this, because it would be bucking the trend if it was. So I'll see you at the 650 kilometer review. Thanks for watching.